Shocking national data from Rasmussen Reports shows Florida and New Jersey, as well as New York, much more Republican than what they were just 4 years ago. Hello everyone and welcome back to another video with On Point Politics. And today we're going to be talking about some numbers that Rasmussen Reports found in those states that I just mentioned, because you may be pretty shocked to see how close they actually line up with my own results. Make sure to hit the like button and to subscribe if you want more content just like this. And so, it's a very simple video, guys. Rasmussen Reports was one of the more accurate national pollsters and still underestimated Trump in all of the battlegrounds in 2020, unlike what most people will tell you. Looking at these states that are filled in blank, states like Florida, New Jersey, and New York, which they essentially dug into their own national numbers from August 1st all the way till now, so about a 2-month time period, collecting data from the national level and sort of weight it to some preliminary, numbers per se. So a basic, party sample, some education demographics and whatnot. They essentially kind of weighted that data. They're not official polls, but they are real data that were collected at the national level. And when we look at a state like, New York, Joe Biden won that state by 23 last time. He won New Jersey by 16 points in the previous election and only lost Florida by 3.5 points in the last cycle. And now we are going to see some really interesting developments from these three states. Looking at the state of Florida, the latest video currently shows that all of the data, which is about 1,200 likely Florida voters from August 15th to September 29th. So, it's not an official poll that was conducted within a couple days, but it is real data that Rasmussen Reports got, and he weighted to a recall vote of Trump +3. He weighted to accurate, female and male demographics, accurate age demographics, and then he actually weighted to the 2020 party electorate. So Trump is up 8 points with an 8-point advantage for Republicans in the party electorate. And I'm projecting about an R+12, R+13 type of electorate in Florida, which means that his victory could be as high as 12 or 13. And it seems to me that an 8-point victory here and the max being 12-13, the median of that is kind of a 10-11, which is about where I have the state right now. My official forecast has the state as about an 11-point win. So that would be in the likely Republican column. Another state is New Jersey, where right now, looking at this new data, Harris is only up by roughly 9 points in the state of New York or in New Jersey. Looking at this poll, currently it's just national data collected from August 1st to September 29th, but he's been in the field every single day, so he can actually get a somewhat proper sample size out of the state. He weighted to the recall vote from last time, weighted to a certain electorate, which actually undersamples Republicans quite a bit. It was hard for him to find a sort of electorate, so he actually weighted to an Emerson poll that was conducted not that long ago that showed a Biden +5 lead, and that more than likely does oversample Democrats and undersamples Republicans. And even with that, we see that Harris is only up by 9 points with a huge Democrat advantage in the sampling, and that's a 9-point lead, guys. And I have I have New Jersey as a 7-point lead for Kamala Harris, so that will also go in the likely Democrat column as well. And looking at New York, we see here that right now, when you weigh to the recall vote from 2020 and you look at the demographics and how he broke them down in the electorate, and he actually weighed them to the New York Times exit poll data, which is the same thing we're weighing to now in our aggregate for New York, which currently shows a much more competitive race than people are expecting. And I suspect the electorate in New York may get more Republican. And looking at this right now, Kamala Harris leads by just 11 points with a somewhat favorable Democrat sample. The electorate may be closer this time, and if it is, this is going to decrease her lead in New York, and I currently have the state as a 9-point victory. So essentially, all of the new Rasmussen polling data from the national level that basically he's compiled to show different state margins, when you look at them and the national aggregate, tends to be pretty accurate for Rasmussen. When you get the data from those individual states and you basically compile them together and treat them like if it's their own poll, you see that the margins actually line up within the margin of error of my own forecast for the election. And they were a pretty accurate pollster at the national level, so their national numbers are going to be a lot better in terms of individual states than per se even a state like, for example, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, because those are state polls that are kind of targeted to that one state. But when you wait for a national electorate, it's a lot better because you're kind of targeting a certain group at the national level, and their national averages and polling has been a lot more accurate. So whatever state numbers you're going to get from that tends to be pretty close to what the actual result could be, since the national polling is more accurate. And what do you know? We found that from Rasmussen, Florida, New Jersey, and New York are all lining up pretty close to what I have. Every other state in this forecast that is filled in is my current forecast for that state according to my election model. I technically forgot to put Nebraska as second in the safe Republican column, or at least in the Republican column. But as of right now, this latest numbers from Rasmussen is confirming what I have been saying, that those states are going to be a lot closer in New York and New Jersey, and that Florida practically doesn't have any chance to go to the former president as of right now, or at least Florida doesn't have any chance to go to Kamala Harris. I'm basically meant, that's what I meant. I didn't mean that Trump was going to lose the state. I meant that Kamala Harris practically doesn't have a pathway. But it's like, okay, if Pennsylvania is right next to New Jersey and New York and New Jersey are getting on average like 8 to 12 points closer, what's going to happen in the eastern part of Pennsylvania, which borders New York and New Jersey? What's going to happen in Pennsylvania, guys? It more than likely means all of the polling from Atlas Intel, which has Harris down, all of the private polling that has Harris down, is probably true. It's more than likely correct. And those shifts in New York and New Jersey are very massive, to the point where they're not going to just affect those states. They're going to affect the entire nation, because unlike a midterm, the same two candidates are on the ballot in all 50 states, and you have the same three top issues in every single state. And so because of that, the trends in a presidential year tend to be a little bit more monogamous, as in a midterm year, each state kind of has its own electorate and issues and two individual candidates, hence why you can get very funky margins in a, sort of midterm election. Now, it clearly, if it's an R+5 electorate, you can assume certain states are going to go certain ways, but really, at a national level, it's a lot better that Donald Trump is performing way better in New York and New Jersey, because if that's the case, he's definitely winning Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Georgia, Arizona, and Nevada. That is my current take on that. And so that is basically it, guys. New York, New Jersey, and Florida's numbers currently from Rasmussen Reports' national data are showing numbers that are pretty close to what I'm saying is the current election as of right now. Make sure to hit the like button and to subscribe. If you want more content just like this, follow me on X, and make sure to join the Discord server in the description down below, so you can help us essentially have a good time and also kind of, just chat in there. And you can also basically chat while we stream the VP debate, or at least not stream it, but we're basically going to have an in-house call in the Discord server where people are going to be viewing the debate. I won't be live streaming it just because I got demonetized from the last debate live stream with Donald Trump and Kamala Harris. And so before you guys do go, make sure to go to betonline.com. They are a sponsor of the channel. If we go to the politics section here, you'll be able to bet on who the winner of the presidential election is, as well as where the states are going to go, including the actual margins, the House of Representatives, and the U.S. Senate elections.